This is Dr. Jason Shumard with Integrated Wellness Center of San Diego. And today I'm going to be talking about a very common topic, or question I should say, I get quite often in the office. And why am I having sleeping problems? Now, this is a very important thing because a lot of the patients that we see in our office are dealing with chronic degenerative diseases. So we're going to be talking about 3 of the most common reasons why someone with diabetes will have sleep issues. But before I go over those topics, I want to talk about a little bit about a win that we had in our office this week. I like to do that in these videos. We just had a patient come in. He met with his primary doctor last week, and they had reduced his medications, 2 of his medications, by half. This guy was ecstatic about the situation. He's super happy with his progression, as are we, and I know he's going to continue on and be able to get off those medications. So he's now gone, he's taking 3 medications, 2 of them he's taking half. He's on his way to reversing his diabetes. It's exciting stuff, which we're able to help so many people reverse their diabetes in the office. So let's talk about our topic today. So today is going to be the 3 most common causes of why your sleep is being impacted due to diabetes. So sleep obviously is a very important thing. We want to make sure we get good quality sleep. It's important for our body to go through the natural healing aspects when we're sleeping, to regenerate, regrowth. Hormones are produced, human growth hormone. Lots of things are happening while we're sleeping. It's really important. And many diabetics, their sleep is being impacted. They're not able to fall asleep. They're not able to stay asleep. They're waking up multiple times a night. They wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning. They can't go back to sleep. It's really frustrating. And they're tired all day long. So we really want to make sure that these individuals get back to sleeping. But the last thing that we want to do is we don't want to address or give them something to help them sleep. Meaning we're not going to give them any kind of pharmaceutical drugs or even some natural products. We may want to help them with some natural products at the beginning, but we really want to find out what is the underlying mechanism. What is causing them the inability to sleep appropriately? And once we find out what that is, which usually is going to be some of the underlying mechanisms that's creating their diabetes as well. But today we're going to talk about 3 common ones that we see. So the first one we want to talk about is obviously increased blood sugars. So obviously when we have someone with diabetes, they're going to typically have increased blood sugars. And what the increase in blood sugars will do, well, number one, elevated blood sugars cause astronomical dysfunction, right? From basically destroying nerve cells to destroying the kidneys, the liver, the cardiovascular system, causes arterial damage, leading to peripheral arterial disease. It can increase the risk of strokes or heart attacks, vision issues, brain dysfunction. I mean, we're talking about from head to toe. So obviously, blood sugars will also increase the problems within the brain that can increase the risk of maybe not enough melatonin or other issues that are involved with your ability to sleep. It puts your body into a very hyper state, trying to deal with the sugar and trying to get it either in the muscles, used as energy, or eventually stored as fat inside the body. So elevated blood sugar causes a lot of damage to the body, and it can impact the ability of the brain to function well, which is going to impact your ability to sleep, right? It won't allow you to go to sleep properly and stay asleep. Either it's going to cause a lot of dysfunction inside the brain. So elevated blood sugar, number one. Now, it's pretty obvious there, but it's a component, because if you don't understand what is causing your elevated blood sugars, and I don't mean the food you're eating, the lack of exercise, your weight gain, I mean, what is truly causing it? As a type 2 diabetic, you have insulin resistance. So that means that your body's not able to use, or your cells are not able to use insulin, which means you're not going to be able to take the sugar in to make the energy your body needs, which is going to create fatigue. So if you constantly have elevated sugars in your bloodstream, that's going to impact multiple areas, including the brain, which will basically not shut it off, and it'll stay awake all night long and keeping you awake and not getting that proper sleep. So elevated blood sugars is number one that has to be addressed. I'm not just referring to food and lifestyle, but really truly finding out what is causing your elevated blood sugar. We can talk about that on a different video. Number 2. So number 2 reason is the thyroid. Now, we know the thyroid is very important for many different functions. Every single tissue inside your body requires thyroid hormone, including your thyroid. But you may not realize that the thyroid is heavily involved in regulation of your blood sugars. So in many cases, we'll see individuals who have a thyroid condition, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism. Now, the problem is that for most cases in regards to the thyroid, is that it's typically an autoimmune disease, meaning the immune system is attacking and destroying and killing the thyroid, and it's creating a problem like hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. Now, because that's happening, in many cases, you're going to be giving a pharmaceutical drug to treat that, trying to either stabilize the thyroid through giving you hormones or trying to reduce the amount of hormones being produced by your thyroid being in a hyperthyroid state. But typically for most individuals, they're going to be in a hypothyroid state, so they're going to take things like levothyroxine, Synthroid, or some other type of hormone to stabilize their thyroid and their hormone levels. But as I mentioned, the majority of cases of someone who's dealing with a thyroid condition is actually an autoimmune disease, which means the immune system is attacking and killing and destroying the thyroid, which is really the main cause of the problem. So if you're taking a hormone to try to stabilize your hormones, but you're not addressing the immune system, you're not fixing the problem. So what happens over time is you continue to destroy and kill the thyroid, medication continues to rise, the person continues to have symptoms. But what is a common symptom of someone who's experiencing a thyroid issue? Sleep issues, right? They can have sleep problems, and they often having to take pharmaceutical drugs to try to help them sleep. And in reality, it's typically going to be an underlying autoimmune disease, which will in turn impact your ability to regulate blood sugars, increasing the risk of insulin resistance, and next thing you know, you have diabetes. This happens all the time. If you're experiencing a thyroid condition right now, you probably have an autoimmune disease that's actually causing it. And if you're experiencing fluctuations in blood sugars, maybe your doctor is telling you you've got borderline diabetes, or you're starting to have some elevated blood sugar, or you already have a diagnosis of diabetes and you have a thyroid condition, there's probably more going on there, and it'll impact your sleep. So again, it's about addressing the cause and not the symptom. We can give you things to help you sleep, but is that really going to fix the problem? Absolutely not. We have to address things more deep. So the last thing that is a common problem is the adrenal gland. Now, if you've never heard of the adrenal gland sits on top of your kidneys. It's also referred to as your stress gland. So when you're under stress, either physically, emotionally, or chemically, or a combination of both, the brain is going to communicate to the adrenal gland to produce a hormone called cortisol. And that's usually due to the body being under some inflammatory reaction. Well, diabetes is an inflammatory disease process. It's in the description of the name. So when you have diabetes or elevated blood sugar, there's going to be inflammation that's going to be surrounding that as well, which is going to stimulate the adrenal gland to produce excessive cortisol. Now, cortisol is very, very, very stimulatory to the brain. It'll cause the brain to activate. It can also cause other things like brain dysfunction, memory loss, short-term memory, brain fog, those sort of things. But in regards to the overstimulation, it will stimulate your brain so you can't go to sleep, you can't stay asleep. I mean, how many times have you experienced laying in bed and your brain is like going, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm really stressed out at work, or I have a lot going on, I just can't shut my brain off. Well, yeah, because you have excessive cortisol that's being expelled into the body, which is creating this stimulation to your brain, which is decreasing your ability to sleep. Now, as in regards to diabetes, because of the elevated blood sugar, it constantly does it over and over and over and over again, and the individual has a very difficult time waking up multiple times a night, and oftentimes blaming on having to go to the bathroom, when in reality it's their adrenal gland pumping cortisol into their body because it's trying to regulate that blood sugar. Then next thing you know, they can't go back to sleep, they can't stay asleep either. So this is another thing about going on with finding the cause, because we know the adrenal gland is heavily involved in blood sugar regulation as well. It's an underlying cause of many diabetics and their problems. So if we restabilize the adrenal gland, reduce the inflammation, take away the stress inside the body, the adrenal gland will produce less cortisol, creating less stimulation to the brain. The person can finally go to sleep. They can calm down and go to sleep. So all of this goes back to understanding the cause of your condition. These are common causes that are going to impact your ability to sleep when you have diabetes, but we also have to understand what is going on with these. Why are these areas malfunctioning? You know, your body is no different than a car to an extent, right? We have the ability to adapt and things, but if your car breaks down, there's a reason for it. There's something going on. There's a spark plug issue, a hose that's has a hole, whatever's going on in the car. If you find out what the problem is, you can fix it and the car starts to work again. But in our body, we don't do that for some reason. We just we're okay with managing it. Well, if you're no longer comfortable managing the situation, maybe it's someone like myself who's a functional medicine doctor, who's the type of doctor you're looking for, who can actually investigate to find out what the cause of your problem is and create a solution, a specific customized program for your needs to allow you to get healthy again. And just one of the things that we see our patients improving with is obviously sleep. And it's not because we're addressing them and giving them things to help them sleep, but we're fixing the underlying problem and their body is naturally healing, going back to its ability to sleep appropriately again. So this is one of the things that I felt that it was so important for us to talk to. I hope that this information was worth it for you today. If it was, please like the video, share the video on your social media outlets. I'd really appreciate it. And hey, if there's a comment that you want to put, I'd appreciate the comments as well. And lastly, you know, if there's anything that I can do to help you or maybe a family member, you can always reach out to us via the comments below, and I can have one of our staff reach out to you, or I will put our information in there. You can call our office, set up a one-on-one consultation with me, either virtually or in office, whatever you feel comfortable with. We can sit down, have a conversation, and see if we can help you with this. Again, I hope this information was worth it. If there's another topic that you want me to discuss, or something that you're struggling with or you need help with, please put that in the comments. I'd be more than happy to put a video together like this and do whatever I can to help. It's my passion and my goal to really help our community to get healthier again. I have seen this disease impact so many people personally, also in practice as well. They no longer need to suffer anymore. You no longer need to have diabetes. We can reverse your diabetes by doing the right approach. If your goal is to reverse your diabetes, to actually get healthy again, get off your medications, you know, have control of your life, then maybe this type of approach, functional medicine, might be the right approach for you. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this information today. Make sure you check out some more of my videos as well, and we'll be back next week for our next video. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.